Hello. So welcome back to the session, this fun live actually. I don't have anything specific planned. I'm just making a whole lot of stickers because we're on a envelope exchange activity, a few friends of mine, and one of the things we're going to send in these envelopes that we're exchanging with each other are little stickers that we ourselves make. So contrary to the general idea that stickers are um, necessarily need to have glue at the back or need to be made from some material that is coated in plastic, what we are making are plain paper stickers. So literally you take a sheet of paper, paint or illustrate something, and once it's done, cut out that shape as neatly as possible, and cut it out and leave it. Like, leave it means use it, rather not leave it, use it in such a way that you are going to apply the glue yourself and paste it somewhere. Okay, so these are absolutely low cost, just fun stuff, something that you can make for anyone, anytime. And what I like about this is that you can make motifs. You can use motifs that are specific to individuals you're giving the stickers to. So for example, this is a pen, just a pen, and I had this done for my sister-in-law, who is a professor. She uses a pen. So I mean, you get the logic, right? There is no um, I thought this was cute to have her name atop this pen, something she could stick on some surface. Similarly, my friend Anuja is a pilot, and I thought this sticker would make a lot of sense. So I drew a plane, uh, painted it, and then I wrote her name on this, and I thought this would make a very cute thing to give Anuja. So this way you can do a lot of fun stuff. Look at this. I put the S monogram on a bucket of popcorn, and isn't it cute? So you can use any monogram you want and give this to somebody. I made a coffee cup and had that say Anjali's coffee, because I know Anjali loves to drink coffee. So the possibilities are endless. Whether you decide to personalize it or not, there's a lot of art you can create. So here's another one. This was supposed to be sunshine in a pocket, in my pocket coat, and I decided not to add the lettering. Just leave it with the sun peeping out of a pocket, a denim pocket. Similarly, this I thought was lovely for my mom, who sews a lot, and I actually drew this sewing machine and did this handmade by, and then you have this line for writing in a name. So lots of fun stuff that we can do. And today I'm going to just, oh, look at this, for my brother-in-law, who likes to wear um, the classic blue blue strapped slippers. So I thought this was nice. Something like this for anybody, actually. You can do lots of things. If it's a girl you're doing this for, you can make it nice and uh, girly, pink, and motifs on the slipper itself, hearts and flowers and things like that. You can make it more macho by just leaving it blue. Your choice. So these are some that I made today evening. I'm going to try a whole bunch more because I have a list of names like last time, and all I'm using is simple drawing book paper, and we've got these books everywhere, right? So I'm just going to take a page and illustrate whatever I can on this one page. Afterwards, I snip it all out. So this is not very thick paper. This is drawing paper, so maybe 120 GSM. Not exactly new, so I found that sometimes it doesn't take water well. So you can see over here, Sometimes there are some bleeds and spots, but that's the whole point of the stickers. The stickers are not exquisite fine works of art. They're more a loose style, and that's why you can use just about any kind of paper as long as it can hold a little bit of watercolor. And if you don't want to do watercolor, that's another thing I wanted to mention, I didn't mention last time, is that you can do this whole exercise with a whole lot of other mediums. If you're into pencils, use color pencils. If you like crayons, use crayons. If you like sketch pens, and I know a lot of people love to use brush pens and sketch pens, use those. Just make sure you test on the paper and make sure that the paper can take whatever medium you decide to use. Okay. Avoid, if you can, taking paper that's very thick, like 300 GSM watercolor paper. It's great to do the illustration, but it's a rather cumbersome to cut. So if you have this kind of an edge to cut, look at this. You see the top of this? That's a lot of cutting. And if you have a thick paper to cut through, this can be a little challenging. So that is why I'm saying analyze what you have to work with and accordingly choose the paper you want to use. Alright, enough of that. I'm going to go in with, keep this aside. And where can you use these? Yeah, the options are endless. You can put it on books, inside books, on top of books. You can paste it on your laptop. You can paste it on bottles and whatnot. All sorts of surfaces. Now, because it's watercolor, I would recommend not surfaces that will get wet, obviously. But dry surfaces, like let's say there are so many containers in the kitchen that can have these kind of quirky designs and things like that. Well, that's fine. Then, like I said, books, laptops, phones, back of your phone, the cover. Yeah, so lots of ideas, lots of places. Oh, you can also use it on envelopes. So, like I said, my group of friends are sending envelopes to each other with a lot of art in it, and you can always put this as your from address. I mean, your from section at the back. Have a sticker, cute one with your name on it. All right. What I generally like to use for these kind of illustrations is direct watercolor to paper, or first a little bit of ink, a micron pen, which is fade proof, waterproof and fade proof. I use either this Uniball fine liners or the Sakura Pigma micron, is it? Yeah, this one, Pigma micron. They come in different sizes. When I say sizes, can you see this 0.808? These represent the tip size. So if you want something thick, a 0.8, 1.0 are good sizes. If you want very fine lines, you should consider using 0.2, 0.1, even less than that is available. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm just adjusting a few things here. I have here my handy trusty watercolor palette, which is the Camlin 48 color series, which is really pretty. It gives me so many options to work with, and I quite enjoy this palette. I should show you the palette. Keep the paper microns away. I need a pencil sometimes, not always. Alright, here's my palette. There you go. Okay, this is a 48 color palette, Camlin, the Camel Artist watercolor cakes. I love this because it's dry. For all practical purposes, when you're not using it, it's dry enough to cart around without spillage, without any sort of problem. Especially in flights, you know, inks can leak in flights, and this is excellent, just excellent for carrying for your travels and stuff. So highly recommend this. It comes in various shades, but this 48 size is the largest they have. Doesn't cost much either, just so you know. All right. So I was talking about a list of names. The list of names I have are here. Oops. So we went through a set of names here. I still have to make stickers for the remaining names in my list. So one by one I'm going to see what I can do about each one, whether we can make something that's a monogram or their name written in some kind of fun font. Let's see. To start off, I will do what I did yesterday. Basically, take a nice big pen, big brush. This is a size 3 round brush, and letter something. Let's use just letters. So the name I have here is Chiquita. Chiquita's name, I'm going to start with a light. My go-to colors are, okay, let's start with light green. I don't think you can see me getting this green ready. If you can't, when I put it on paper, you'll be able to see it. So don't worry about that, okay? Because this palette is quite big and my screen space is quite small. Okay, so Chiquitas, if you are comfortable making cursive lettering, you know what cursive is? Cursive is connected lettering. What you can do is very slowly write the name C H I K. So wherever my brush goes down, I make the stroke a little thick. Where it goes up, I keep it thin. So again, down. See, the down stroke is thick. I again, down stroke. If it's not thick enough, make it thick. Up is thin, down. And this is an A, but I want to just get that downstroke thicker. So this is my downstroke. Make that nice and thick. And one more downstroke. Okay. Put the eye there and the horizontal bar. Okay. So I've just written Chiquita's name as it is. Now, how do we get this looking better? Or let's add something to it. So I'm going to take a little bit of cerulean blue and add it to the base of the name. Oops, this is quite wet. Okay, so where it is very wet, it's actually going to be a little more challenging. You could wait for the green to dry a bit. Or not. Maybe if maybe my blue was not wet enough. It's going to turn a little bit green, obviously. And that's fine. We just want a darker shade. So here it's not blending too well. What I will do if it's not blending is wet my brush, dry it off and just blend it, like manually blend it with the green. See here, wet the brush again, or you can go in with a little bit of green so that it's wet. See, oops, let's pull that down. These last two have gone up all the way, which you don't want. Okay, so Chiquita's name is now written in green and blue, and we could leave it that just this, but I like to make it a little more interesting. So can you see that my C got an extra layer of something. I think my hand moved. Okay, fix that. Now what I could do is I'll take a shade of gray, which is basically watered down black. Okay, I'll take a thinner brush, size 0 maybe. Yeah, size 0. And with that size 0, I'll just add a shadow on the right bottom of the name. It's not touching, the shadow is not touching the letters, the letter as it is. It's just sitting, there on the right, on the side. That's it. There are plenty of tutorials on this. This is shadow, like adding shadows to letters. Plenty. I mean, I cannot tell you, I cannot, like, this is too much. This is too much of, too many videos out there. So if you are keen on learning this, please do check YouTube and other places that offer these easy tutorials. Shadows can go on any side. I have chosen right and bottom. You can choose to have it another place, maybe left top corner. That's also possible. Okay, so now Chiquita's name is looking, it's popping, right? It's looking three-dimensional. Okay, so Chiquita is done. Let's take the next name. So this is one thing. You can just take a letter and write it out. Next name is Jayanita. Now I know that Jayanita has a cat at home, and I was thinking maybe I could do something with a cat illustration. So we could consider drawing a cat and having that cat surrounded by something that holds Janita's name in it. You know, I'm just thinking. Let's see. This is experimenting, no? So what color shall I make the cat? Shall I make it, don't want to make yellow and black because that would become like a tiger. Don't want a tiger. Maybe gray? Brown, maybe brown. Not bad. Okay, light, watery brown. Yeah, I'm mixing two colors. One is burnt umber and the other is ochre, yellow ochre. And I'm going to do this freehand. Let's hope that it actually works. Huh? So what does a cat look like? Let's keep it here. I'm going to draw a cat here, and then around the cat, I'll draw a heart, and we'll put Janita's name in the heart. Okay, let's see how that works out. So my cat illustration is going to look okay. Let me just fill it in. We'll worry about the details of the cat later. Let's give it a body. So we have a what looks like a natural cat-like body. Okay. See, the paint is quite watery and it feels like a watercolor experiment. It doesn't look like it's any other medium. Okay, so we've got the body, we've got some paws over here which we'll define later, and we've got to have a tail. So let's bring the tail from here. Okay, it's too dark. The cat can have certain portions that are darker than the rest of the body. So for example, if you feel like you want to just put in some shade here, some shade here, you could do that because That's fun, right? Definitely one that has. Okay, so the cat is done. Now before I add Janita's name or do any more details to the cat, maybe I'll add with a pencil. I'll just plan where I want to do it. If I do something right now, it's going to just it's going to merge, right, two colors. So let's not do it right away. Now, how do I want to write Janita's name? I'm just thinking. The cat with a heart and Janita. No, or maybe a circle. Where would we write Janita's name? So suppose you want to write Janita here. Okay. Rough work. How will my heart look? Yeah, something like this. Not bad. Okay. We'll see. We'll see what to do. Let's leave this here. Cat has to dry. Next person is Garima. So for Garima, I'm thinking we could try a letter G. Okay, so letter G looks like this. So that's letter G. On my letter G, I'd like to add some florals. So I'll just erase this bit over here because I want to add some loose florals. I don't want to draw these florals. Okay, the G was just as a guideline. I needed a guide on which to draw the florals. So actually I'm making a mistake. G is written slightly different. Yeah, that's more like it. Okay. So let me start with the florals here. And Garima's name, I'm not going to write Garima anywhere. I'm just going to leave the G. So just a monogram for her. Okay, so flowers. What color shall I do? Pink flowers. Pink can't go wrong. So simple five petal flowers. And not many of them because I don't have too much space. Maybe maybe another color. Let's see. Maybe a yellow. So I could put little things sticking out here, but I have to be careful. I can't touch the pink. So maybe I should come back and try this later once the pink has dried. Okay, so I can do flowers, I can do leaves, sap green. So leaves of these flowers would be like this. Can you see how wary I am of painting without drying? Like it's a big risk. Not sure I should take that risk. Okay, I'm not going to risk it. Let's get on to the other part, the part that I want to finish off here. Janita's name is going to be erased. My heart outline is alright, so going in with a nice light pink. My Camlin set, which is coral, or some shade like that. Should I leave that white? Maybe not. I was wondering whether to leave that white around the cat. Probably best not to. Then it look like it's properly behind. Okay, pink is done. While we wait, we can take our fine brush, go in with a dark, super dark brown, and give our kitty some eyes. Okay, nose for sure. Okay, so Janita's name will have to come after we leave that. Janita, Garima's we have to wait again. Who's next? Shivani. So for Shivani, what can I do for Shivani? Maybe I'm trying to think. An envelope. Okay, and we can have a note coming out of it that says Shivani. And we can have a heart here. Good enough? Yeah, I think that's simple stuff. Sometimes simple stuff is easy. You don't have to worry too much about it. So what color shall I give the envelope? Shall we go with blue and light blue, or be too bright. What kind of an envelope should we give? Orange, yellow and orange. Let's see. We put, so the inside of the envelope, let's give it some nice bright yellow. Forgot, I could have done the fine liners. Forgot about it. And I also forgot to bring my paper up so everyone can see it. I forget my screen doesn't have that much of a so while we wait for this to dry, we can't do anything. I'm gonna just go ahead and put this in. Onto the G here. I could think of going in with a dark color, maybe even a black, because why not, right? So if we go with, or indigo. Indigo is a nice color. So where's indigo? Let's see. I forget in the palette where things are. Indigo is here, right at the edge here. So indigo is a very deep color and a lovely rich color. Somehow I end up picking up a lot of fiber. This is the trickiest part, the part where the flower touches the letter. There you go. Whatever you draw on a sheet of paper, remember you're going to cut out. So keep a little bit of allowance between the illustrations you make, because that outer space around the letter or the shape needs to be cuttable, right? Otherwise you'll be so close to each other, they'll be so close to each other you won't be able to cut it out, and then you'll be left upset that you didn't plan it. So please always plan for a little bit of outer space. If that means that you should you want to draw the outline before you paint it or whatever, you can do that. What do I mean by draw? I'll show you. Okay, so there's the G. What I mean by draw is take a pencil and draw. Now I'm going to do it for the cat, or maybe I'll do it for Garima's G. See, I'm going to draw an outline here like this. This will help me realize, okay, that's where I'm going to cut, and that's how my shape is going to look. I'm just doing it in pencil for your reference. As I discussed yesterday or day before, whenever I did my last sticker session, when we cut stickers, we have the choice to cut along the, right at the border of your illustration, or you can choose to leave a slight white gap around. Personally, I prefer the gap. I feel it looks pretty, so I usually like to leave a gap. So if that's the G, can you see how it will look when it is cut out? So now I know that it's not going to touch anything. The cutout is not going to touch anything. Now let's do Janita's name. Is it wet, dry? Yeah, it's dry. I'm going to go in with a little bit of thin brush and red. because the cat loves Janita. And I'm going to, as you can see, I have taken the pencil mark off, but this is it's a good time for me to insert it back in because I may want it, you know. It's not easy to let her just like that straight. So don't hesitate to write in pencil if you feel it'll get jeopardized. I mean, you're going to jeopardize it without a pencil. However good you are, follow your gut when it comes to these things. Done. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add a few more hearts. Maybe one here too. I'm just getting very all into it, enjoying my hearts. Make it big. Yeah, and there you go. That's done. Now if I were to, when I cut this, my outline's going to be this way. Actually, the moment you draw this outline, you can see your sticker kind of pop out. But this is only a guide. I don't usually do this. I'm just showing it to you, and I'm going to stop with these two illustrations because honestly, I don't need this. I can cut directly without this, leaving just a space while I cut. So as you get comfortable, you will not need to do this. Also, you will know how much space to leave between two illustrations so that you get that. Now this portion here, it's an optional cutout area. If you have what is an X-Acto knife or something, you could cut that out, right? So that's how it will look. Cute, right? Alright, Shivani's. Oops. Shivani's. Let's add some. Actually, even Garima's is not done. I just stopped because the paint was still wet. I would love to go in with a little more color. You know, and give the centers of these yellows some pop of color too. I wouldn't mind giving the green a little bit of you know, shade. That makes it better, so much better. Okay, and of course the center of the flower can have any color really. I'll go with my yesterday's favorite, black. Very odd, I know, but black in the middle of flowers also looks pretty. See? Okay, so that's done. Chiquita, Janita, Garima, Shivani. Shivani's envelope could be yellow ochre. I always forget to bring this up in line with the rest of the light and dark is a great way to do envelopes. Inside being light, outside being dark, you know, that kind of thing. Okay. Shivani's name can be written in another color. Simple lettering, nothing great. Nothing great at all. We'll do a little bit of the outline later. Alright, who's next? If I don't check off this list, I'm not going to finish. Chiquita is over, Janita is over, Karima is over, and Shivani is over. So now we have Sayali. What shall we do for Sayali? Now we could consider doing a potted plant, you know, what else? Or maybe, where else can we have a name? Just trying to think out loud. Okay, I could think of a nice circular shape. Okay, so I'm just going to give myself a circle, maybe here. Maybe something like this, or maybe not a circle. Let me think. Oval. But what would we do with an oval? I'm thinking of a bow. So just so you're wondering what I should do. What else? What else? What are the ideas? Or a cup. A cup is not a bad idea. How about that? Or a bottle. So let's say we draw a bottle here. Okay. And this is a drink bottle. So we're going to draw it like this. Now over here is the cap of the bottle, and let's draw okay, yeah, that would be the bottle. Bring it down all the way, give it a rim inside, and we're going to allow a little bit of a, so this is a transparent bottle. Okay, we're imagining a transparent bottle, and there's going to be liquid till a particular point, and I'm going to write Sayali's name, Sayal. How about that? Okay, so let's shall we paint it or ink it? Paint it. Let's paint it. I'm going to give the bottle a dull wash of, no, not dull. Let's give it some color. What color should I give it? I'm always out of ideas for colors. Blue is done. Green is done. Orange, no, orange looks funny. Purple, lavender, maybe that kind of a shade. Okay, let's put it dark out here. Okay, and even the top over here dark. So I'll have to come back and do the rest of it because we need a light shade. For the body, because it's transparent, I'm only going to color in the water here. Okay, so water comes in here. I leave a little bit of an outline and a little bit of a base where you can see that this is water. Okay, anything else? Yeah, I need to go in with more color, but I can't do it while the purple is still wet. So let's leave that. What else? Let's try another lettering style. I'm going to try and see if I can do. Okay, what's after Sayali? We have Ritika. Okay, for Ritika, I'm going to do multicolor. So let's start with pink. I always start with pink, safe. Okay, so I'm going to write R. I'm going to make it a funny sort of R. You know those bulky letters? Top thin but bottom heavy. That is what I'm going to do. Funny lettering is good fun, huh? It takes away so much of pressure and you don't have to worry about how it's going to look. It's meant to look like that. And or should I mix two colors? Okay, we were going to do let's do orange. I T I. Okay. So bottom heavy, it looks somewhat like that old Swift, you remember? Maruti Swift. Such a bottom heavy car that was. And now the A. Start at this height and kind of make it, yeah, that's it. So put in the outline and then you are pretty much done after that. Next question is, what do I do next? We've written the name. Should we do anything more? Should we leave it as it is? All sorts of ideas at this point. Okay. Now, you could do many things. You could put a shadow to this work. So, if you put a shadow, you can put a shadow that is with a pen. Where is my black pen? Oh, there it is. I don't know if all of them, at least the early ones, have dried. So, you could consider putting a nice thick shadow on the right. I'm using a micron pen for this. Okay, so R, I, I could thicken this even here. Some more shape. I'm not sure this is going to look good, really. It looked good in my head, and this is something you have to get used to. Get used to seeing things that you saw nicely in your head go completely wrong on paper. And that's it. That's your learning. You've learned something from that. Okay, the A is still wet, and I'm not going to touch the A. I don't want to ruin my pen. What else? Let's go and add the outline to Sayali's bottle. So the bottle is going to be this way. And let's put Sayali's name down. I'm going to do some faux calligraphy. If you need to turn your page, please go ahead and turn your page. Don't do any stunts that you are uncomfortable doing. What are we left to do? Yeah, markings over here. light purple. Okay, I'm using the wrong color. Yeah, used the wrong color there. Sorry. Just going back in with the right color. You could consider going in with a little bit of brown, gray. Gray has a nice effect when you put it, just at the rim. It's okay, not the best bottle. We can get better at that. What else? How many more people do we have to? Ritika, Sayali, Akanksha. Akanksha. So let's do a pot. I mean, like, a pot is something we really can easily do. Or a pen. Maybe a pen. Yeah, maybe a pen. Or a brush. I didn't think of a brush. So many ideas. I'm really wondering what we should do. Okay, maybe we'll do this. Alright. With some creepy legs. Oh, not so far. A big eye, for sure. And a dot in that. A big mouth. And some of them have got and maybe some circles, and we can write, what was the name? Akanksha. So we can write how about that? So what are we going to do with this gecko? Shall I call him a gecko? I think I can. I'm going to give him some nice bright ungecko color. What is ungecko like? Ungecko like. I'm going with the same sort of shades I start to realize. Brown? Brown is not ungecko like at all. Orange. Let's make him orange. Alright. So let's get his body covered up. In orange. Animals are great fun to illustrate. And not just pretty animals. I mean, we usually like to think of, when we say animals, we like to think of pets, and animals we like. Not necessarily what we like. We could consider always illustrating something that is uncomfortable, like a gecko, right? I mean, who enjoys a gecko? Oops. I managed to get an eraser shaving here. Out. Out. Okay, we're going to let that gecko dry. What's next? Akanksha and Jasmine and Elaine. We could do some very pretty florals, which I love doing anyway. Okay, let's see. Space. I'm trying to think of space. What if I put a rectangle here and put some flowers here and write the name here? Yeah. Okay, it's an idea, and I'm going to give it a try. What I am going to do is first write the name Jasmine. Oh, let's do Elaine first, because Jasmine, I can do Jasmine's. Elaine can have her name. Purple and green flowers, which means Elaine's name will be in purple. Okay, Elaine's name in purple. E. Why I'm doing this is because I need the spacing right for the box, and if I don't write her name, I will not know how wide to make the box. Elaine. Alright, Elaine, the name is done. Now my green. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I need to get the flowers in. And for the flowers, I'm going to use purple itself and my classic roses. How about that? Dip it in. You know, when I have nothing else to paint with in terms of flowers, I don't know what to paint rather, I end up painting roses. Not even great roses, just a bunch of roses. And roses never fail, right? Roses really never fail. that's it. Let's join up this thing, bring it all the way till here. Now I think this line needs to be thicker. Should I do something more or leave it this way? I'll leave it this way. For the rest of the rows, I will probably put in a wee bit more color here because I want just a deep shade. I will come back for the green later. How's our gecko doing? Gecko's okay. Maybe I should start with the red. And I know these look very comical, like children's illustrations, things that you'd find in children's books. But that's fun, right? Which of us doesn't like children's books? They're quirky ways of depicting animals and people. It's just so cute. So here, okay, and then we have the leg, which I have to draw this way now because, and the circles on the body. Okay. Right. Let's write Akanksha's name in what are we left with? Jasmine. For Jasmine, I'm going to do, what shall I do? Shall I do some trying to think. What would I do for Jasmine? Banner. I could do a banner. Yes. I could do some other lettering too. Maybe a light color. Let's take blue. Okay, and I'm going to try and write Jasmine's name. Very watery, super watery. If you have not tried hand lettering, you really must. There's so much you can do really with lettering. Really, the possibilities are endless. That's it. What am I going to do with this? Wait and see. Let that dry. Okay, so Akanksha, Elaine, Karima, Shivani. Shivani is, let's give Shivani some definition. We definitely need to give it. Oh, Ritika's A. Yeah, so the blue is a little dark, and so this black outline doesn't show as well. Just a wee bit dark. Okay, what is left? This guy also needs some definition, but I have to be careful not to touch. Jasmine. Oops, I knew this was going to happen. I mess up often. I knew it was going to happen and I have done it. Apply, take a tissue and dab. You could salvage it. Let's just leave it for now. I'll add that in a little later. What else? I think I've got everyone's names in. Let's see. Elaine, Jasmine, Akanksha, Ritika, Sayali, Karima, Janita, Chiquita, and Shivani. Alright. Looks like everyone's name's done. I'm going to start the cutting up. Alright. Let's see. This is the fun part. Fixing the E of the jasmine. There you go. Things can be fixed. As you can see, I have just dumped some water here. That's a whole lot of water. But be careful now not to touch jasmine. Let's start cutting up. For this you need trusty scissors. I use relatively medium-sized scissor. Not very big, not very small. At one time I used to think that the larger the scissor the better, but I found that different people have different comfort level with scissors. So not everyone prefers a larger scissor like me. It all depends on how often you've been cutting, how comfortable you are cutting these shapes. So there's the first of my shapes. As you can see, without a pencil line I can actually leave a border, right? And this is not an exact border, it's visually, you're estimating it visually. See? Cute, right? Now let's take something else. I'm going to take this paper off, keep it at the side. I mean this book off. Okay. And let's cut out the large chunks. This is how I like to cut out, space them out so that I won't go and touch something else or cut off too much of something else. I like to just cut off the pieces before I make the fine edits. There's the cat and Chiquita's name, and I can probably cut out Ritika's and leave Jasmine to dry. So there's Ritika, G for Garima. I really hope these guys like this kind of quirky stuff I do. They have no choice. I'm sending it anyway. Okay, and last of all, that Jasmine needs to stay out of. It needs to dry, and I'm worried it is not going to dry. It's just too wet. Okay, let's do Elaine. Tricky ones. These are quite tricky, and you're gonna, when you cut it, the best thing to do is, instead of moving your scissor left and right and all over the place, move the paper. See, reach the end and move the paper, not the scissor. See what's happening? I'm kind of using my left hand to just guide the paper under the scissor. If that's what I could, it's the best way to explain it. Guide the paper in the direction of the scissor, or guide the paper such that the scissor doesn't have to move and it's just the paper that's being moved around. See? There you go. Elaine's is done. Isn't that cute? Even if I say so. Now Chiquita doesn't have an outline, and so I'm going to be doing some on the spot cutting. See, just moving the paper around is less strain on the scissor, the hand that is cutting. So much easier for that hand. Go into the grooves around the letters, leaving roughly as much space as you think is even and uniform. Oops, got too close. This is going to happen, especially if you're in a hurry like I am right now. You may end up cutting more than you wanted to, and you're gonna, I mean, there's nothing much you can do about it. You just get on. There you go. So Chiquita's is here. If you feel like cutting that in between portion, you can do that with an X-Acto knife. I'll show you what an X-Acto knife is in exactly sometime. jokes are getting quite lame. I'll do all the main cutting first. This is a smaller one. I'm just leaving a small enough border. Swayali. Janita's cat looks very cute. I hope Janita likes this. Animals are really cute. Next time I should try a dog. Or I was going to, I actually wanted to try a paw print. So cute, right? See, there's one more X-Acto knife business in this one. If you're not comfortable with the scissor, please don't go as fast as I am going. Sally's bottle should not be lying down, it should be up. Okay, what's left? Janita's cat. Now Garima's monogram. Yeah, that's monogram. This kind of work needs a podcast, and you will thoroughly enjoy yourself. You will not know where the time went. You'll be left with so many lovely things which you can use happily. I mean, this kind of art is not meant for preserving for posterity. That is important. You have to learn to let go of it. It's going to go on to something, and then once it goes on to something, that something, when it's reached its end of life, will also get discarded, and your sticker's going to go with it, and that's fine. Right? This is not a museum piece of art, museum worthy piece of art. This is just fun art. Don't get emotionally attached to it. Let it go. Let it make someone happy, and that should make you happy. Garima. Now we're left with Ritika. So Ritika's is a little bit of a tricky business. Let me see whether I can do justice to it. Try to keep the border a little short. Okay, what changes? I can definitely make this go in. Another spot I can go in is here, so that the white space is more balanced. And there you have it, Ritika. The stickers are so quirky. Oh, jasmine is finally dry. Now's the time. So with this part where I have Akanksha's name written in in just plain cursive kind of a writing, I just go around it like this, and then I get on. The gecko looks cute too. Animals really can't go wrong unless there's some proportion issue and it doesn't look like some animal. Still, when you are drawing an illustration like this, what how much scope does it have to go wrong? Not much at all. There you go. So Akanksha is done. Who are we left with now? Oh, only Jasmine. Okay. For Jasmine, what am I going to do? I'm going to do what I did yesterday. It's still not dry. Look at that. I'm going to just start with J A S M I N E. And let's move the E out a bit. J needs a dot. That's it. So all I've done is write in ink. And now it's going to be tricky because I have to mind that what paint drop that's sitting there, waiting to get smudged. If you have too much of cumbersome paper around, please go ahead and cut it off because it will just hamper the way you're cutting. And now okay, and jasmine is done, not dry but done. Okay, so let me do an inventory now. Jasmine. Garima, Sayali, Janita. Oh yeah, X-Acto knife. I just talked about all this and I didn't do it. So an X-Acto knife is a cutting tool that looks like this. Oops. This is an X-Acto knife. I'm sure you've seen it. It's a very lovely point sharp tool, and it's used like how you'd use a pen, right? You're going to press down and cut whatever portion you want to cut. For an X-Acto knife, remember that you need to have a cutting board. Otherwise, an X-Acto knife cutting on a table is going to ruin your table. So please do not try this without a self-healing mat or a cutting. When I say cutting board, not a kitchen cutting board. That's not what you want. You definitely want a cutting mat. Now here, what I would do is just on the cutting mat, I will just make the shape out. Run it like a pen. A little pressure. And that piece comes right out. See? I would like to erase the pencil markings that I see around. It's irritating me. I don't put pencil markings when I cut, right? So I don't like pencil markings sticking out. Although most people say, oh, whatever, let it be. It's just neater. That's the. So one more, we had one more of these to cut. Which one was that? Chiquita. Yeah. So for chiquitas, this portion, you have to use the X-Acto knife and cut it in there. Yeah. And over here. See? So certain portions, if you feel you need to cut that out, I felt like the white was too much and I wanted to cut it out. I don't think it's there on anything else. Garima's also has this pencil mark that's annoying me. What else? Yep, that's it. So X-Acto knife needs to be covered and kept. It's very, very sharp. The blade can be changed, just so you know. Over time the blade gets blunt, and I will just simply remove that piece of blade from here. See, this portion here locks it in. You can turn it and loosen the blade. The blade comes off. So that's an X-Acto knife for you. You can change it and tighten it and then use it. Okay. So that's an X-Acto knife. Please, it's a really good tool to have. X-Acto knives and cutting mats. And finally, I'm just going to arrange my brushes sitting here. I'm going to arrange all my stickers. G can sit here. Ritika, Elaine, my little Akanksha's gecko, Janita's cat. Sayali's bottle can go somewhere here, or maybe not. Yeah. So how do I arrange Chiquita's? Okay, let's put Chiquita here. Janita's cat can make some space, and Jasmine goes somewhere here. Okay, let's move Elaine a bit. Jasmine and Chiquita's bottle. Awesome. Not bad, right? Good fun. So if you are trying out stickers, that's how easy stickers are. Give it a try, and if you do create stickers, cut out stickers, please do post. I'd love to see them. Alright, thank you so much for hanging around on a Saturday night. I'll see you soon. Bye.